Miss Nikki in the house.
So we know what we're good at, but we know we're not good at. We spend all of our time.
My family know I've been married for 10 years.
I had changed my life so much in such a short
I've been doing that for 18 to 19 years.
I'm one of those people who I think, I grew up
serving the majority, as far as I can remember, as a kid.
Hey everyone! Yes, I am Chandra, and
allow themselves to be free. Sometimes I do coaching and other things like that, but
dance was my life. Dance is what I knew. Dance is what I breathed.
I lost a lot of time with my daughter in that first year.
It was an amazing job for actors.
And welcome to Commit to Change, otherwise known as C2C podcast that gives a voice to the people who may be considered a small fry in their industry, but are doing big things in their communities. This is Miss Nikki, the Jane of all trades, but the master of living. I am committed to introducing VIPs, vivaciously inspiring people to encourage you on your daily journey, as well as let you know what is possibly happening around you in your area. So, as always, we have an amazing guest. I was flabbergasted when someone introduced me to her Instagram page, and of course, I had to become a stalker and look at everything that she was doing, and I was like, she needs to be on my podcast. And I am honored today that she said yes. Not yes to the dress, but yes to the podcast. All right. So I want to introduce you to Miss Shelia Howard, otherwise known as SheJag.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a wife, a mother, a grandmother, yes, I said a grandmother, a author, and an inspirational role model. Her book that she authored was Trapped Inside Myself. She has a strong passion for inspiring others, but holds a special part of her heart for those that are struggling with weight issues. And as she was formerly morbidly obese, Shelia found herself hopeless. After losing 161 pounds and maintaining her weight loss for 3.5 years, she uses her story of freedom to inspire hope within others. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The floor is yours. Please tell us a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. I'm absolutely honored to be here to share. I get such a joy out of sharing my story, and I appreciate the platform. As you said, I am a mother, a wife, a grandmother. I am 54 years old. I have 18 grandchildren, one more on the way.
Wow.
It's coming. Yeah, got a lot of grandchildren. And I love them very much. I work as a administrative secretary at a church, and I'm also a musician, so I play for church every Sunday. And as you mentioned, I'm an author, and I love to talk about health, fitness, and wellness, especially to people over 50, because kind of the way I grew up, it was never said, but it was almost expected that over 50 is pretty much you go downhill with your health. It was not a big deal if you gained weight. It was almost expected, and just accepted all of these different ailments and issues because you're 50. So I love talking about alternatives to accepting weight gain and accepting pain and taking pills and that sort of thing. So that's a special place in my heart for things of that nature, especially for people in my age bracket.
So tell us a little bit about your journey that brought you to the point of where you decided to commit your life to changing others' lives.
So for me, it was my commitment to change came from really being sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was in a lot of pain as an obese person. Carrying me around 350 pounds literally makes you tired and literally makes you sick. So I was tired of being in pain. And once I figured out how to, because I caught it trapped. I used to look in the mirror, literally look in the mirror and talk to myself and pray, looking in the mirror. And I would say, you're going to get out of there. That's not really you. You don't even look like that. Who are you? And I would say, Sheila, the real you is inside. The real you is inside of there. And you're coming out one day. You're coming out one day. And I would also pray in the mirror and say, God, you know I'm in here. I want to get out. Please show me how to get out. So I know that other people feel the same way that I felt. And when I got out, I knew I had to. Like, I'm extremely passionate about trying to pull others out of their trapped situations. And it's not just weight. You know, people are trapped in so many different types of situations. But what I'm trying to convey, even in my book and in my story when I talk, it's whatever it is you're trapped in. There is a way out. You just have to figure out what it is. And then, in your words, commit to the change.
Yes.
But, yeah.
So tell me, like, because talking with people who have been obese and then they lose weight, one of the things, or the common things that I've heard from them is them having a hard time recognizing the new them. And so they feel like an imposter. Because you talk to yourself about being the after you, prior to, did you have that same issue once you lost the weight, or is that something you still had to struggle with?
From time to time, it did happen to me. I didn't think it would, and it probably is not as bad an issue for me as with others because I haven't been obese all my life. So when I look in the mirror right now, I see the older version of my younger self. And it tickles me. I look pretty much exactly how I looked at 21, just older. Just older. But I know I have come across some folks who've been obese their entire lives. And then when they look in the mirror, they almost don't recognize themselves because they've never seen themselves without the weight. So to me, I look familiar. This person looks familiar. It's like, I remember you. I look familiar. The bigger me looks very unfamiliar. Even though I was in that state for a long time, that was the person that was very unfamiliar. I would look in the mirror and I looked foreign to myself because I knew that wasn't how I was. Well, maybe it was where I was supposed to be for that time, but I knew it didn't express the real me. So there's only been a few moments here and there where I've walked past a mirror or a glass and kind of jumped. And that happened mostly in the beginning.
So tell me, and now I want you to talk about the two different points of your journey. What was your biggest obstacle during your journey? And then what was your biggest obstacle once you decided to take your journey and make it a story of empowerment for others? Like, what were your biggest obstacles, and then how did you overcome them?
My biggest obstacle was failure of fear of failure, excuse me. I was totally terrified that I was going to make a step and fail. I even decided to maybe not talk about it so much because then I didn't have to be accountable. So if I stepped out and I made these endeavors and I failed, then I wouldn't have to answer to anyone. So that was part of it. I was like, I think I'll keep this to myself. That way, if I crash and burn, no one will ever know. And that was an obstacle, and that was a personal choice. I was quiet about my moves because I was terrified. Terrified. Once I got the confidence and told myself that I was going to do this, and started really believing in myself, saw the changes, saw the results, I became stronger and stronger. Results, give you strength and encouragement. And in past times, I would be, if I didn't see results immediately, I would quit. And another thing, a quote that I like to say is quit quitting. I had to quit quitting. If I would go work out, I hired a personal trainer. I would go to bariatric doctors and do different things. And if I didn't see results in like a week or two, I was like, it's not working. It's not working. So I quit. So I had to tell myself, you give yourself time, Sheila. You're not a superhero. You're not wearing a cape. Give yourself time. So I had to tell myself, quitting. And once I did that and I started to see the results, again, I became way more empowered. So when I made it to the other side, knowing how I felt, I knew that there were others that felt exactly how I felt. And again, it fueled my passion to share my story. And there have been people that say, when I read your book, it was like you were telling my story. Some of the things that happened to you are some of the same things that happened to me, and I was crying when I was reading it because those are the things that happened to me, and it was kind of embarrassing telling some of the things that happened to me as an obese person. It was embarrassing, but I felt that I had to share for people that in my shoes, and also for people that have never walked in my shoes, so they can get a sense of what it's like to be in that existence. I thought it was important for them just to get a glimpse of that. And I'm praying that my story not only helps other obese people, but people who have never dealt with obesity at all. There's a thought that obese people are greedy and lazy. Period. Like, that's the reason why you're obese, is because you're greedy and lazy. Even though no one came to my face necessarily and said you're greedy and lazy, there was shade here and there, and often feeling embarrassed to eat in front of people as if though I was supposed to starve, So getting to the other side of this, I'm so compelled to share, to pull other people out of their situation.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for doing that, because we need you.
Thank you.
So I have a question. So tell me about where you got the JAG part. Like, where's the SheJag? What is the significance behind that? Please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was kind of given to me. I love the Jaguar car. See, I'm not even into cars, but I love a Jaguar. And when I was younger, I said, one day I'm going to buy me a Jag. And I just can't wait. I said, I'm going to get it when I'm 40 years old, because it's a sophisticated car, so I need to be like 40. And I'm going to buy me a Jaguar when I'm 40, and I'm going to be riding around. I used to just be talking, and people would be like, you're right. So one day I was riding down 7 miles in Detroit. I was riding down the street, and I saw this beautiful black Jag. And I was like, but I was only like 35. And I was like, ooh, look at that beautiful. It was in the lot, and I made a U-turn. I went in there. Long story short, I bought the Jag. And just like that, the next day I drove off the lot with this beautiful black Jaguar. And I wanted a personalized plate. And Sheila's Jag wouldn't fit on there, but SheJag fit.
So, so
okay.
yeah, my coworker, I had one coworker that started calling me SheJag, and I was like, why are you calling me my plate? He started calling me SheJag, and then everybody started calling me SheJag, and I just started answering to it. It was just a license plate. And then I made it my email. When email came out, the email was kind of new. And I made it, it was 2002, and I made it my email. And then when I got on Facebook, I was like, it was new. It's like, I don't want people to know my name. I'll just use my license plate. And it went from there.
Wow. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay. So during your journey, and again, I want to ask for both parts because you have significant parts of your journey that I think are important to share. So during the weight loss portion, and then during like now when you are inspiring others, who would you say is or was your biggest supporter?
Absolutely my husband. If I even mention something I want to do, any type of endeavor, he's right there trying to help push me to get it done. He is absolutely my biggest supporter. And then my children as well. My children have been very, very, very encouraging. It's like, you got this, Mom. I'm so proud of you, Mom. And my son is always on social media pushing my website out and my pictures and sharing my photos with his community. Look at my mom. So yeah, I love that. But yeah, any and everything that I've even thought about doing, my husband and my children have all backed me up, as well as my best friends. Everybody's rooting for me. But my husband literally has been like feet on the ground for literally any and everything that I've thought about doing. He's been there.
Okay. What's your husband's name?
His name is Eugene. We call him Gino.
All right, Eugene. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you for being the biggest supporter. And thank you to the SheJag children. What are their names? So we give them a shout out to.
Reginald, Cassidy, and then I have stepkids, but I don't call them step. I only mention that because if I say I have 7 children, then people want to.
Who cares?
Right. I have to start trying to explain. But it's Brandy, Danielle, Kiera, Charles, Eugene Jr.
All right. Big shout out, big up to all of them. Thank you. C to C did you. So that's awesome. And I'm partial to your husband's name because that's my dad's name.
Yay.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so tell me, how do you feel that you're adding value to the community?
Well, here, and everything is kind of new to me, so I'm even new to community activities in this vein. So what I've done here recently, some things at my church, and I'm looking to expand even further. So here recently, we had a health day. I was blessed to be the one to set up the event, and I got to talk about the benefits of meal prepping and juicing. We brought in a registered nurse to talk about preventative health. We brought in a trainer to demonstrate easy, effective exercises that you can even do at home. It was a big event. It was extremely successful. And I want to continue to do things like that in the community in the future. So again, I got a whole lot of things in the works like at the moment. I'm so excited. 2020 is going to be a kickoff for some of those things. So a lot of people have approached me a lot about coaching. A lot of people in the weight loss community, not only those who have had weight loss surgery, but even those who have not had weight loss surgery that struggle with losing and really maintaining weight loss. It's one of the biggest fears of losing weight, gaining it back. Yes. And a lot of people say, Sheila, how have you not gained your weight back? And I committed to change. So people want to know what I'm doing to not gain the weight back. And my inbox, honestly, it's flooded, especially if I post on social media a before and after picture. Sometimes I have to do it on a day off because I know what's coming. All of the messages and inboxes, and I like to respond to everyone, so I'll do it on a Friday or Saturday so I can sit and I can respond to people. People are in pain, people are struggling, and I love helping them. So coaching is a way that I want to help others, and not just in a paid coaching manner. I want to figure out a way to coach others on a community level. So I've made some connects here in Toledo that I'm really excited about. So some things that are going to happen in 2020 that'll put me in the community to help others. In fact, I made a connect yesterday. I was at the library. I went to the library to see my book. I put my book in the library months ago, but I've never seen it. Actually, the library here in Toledo closed for renovation, and I never saw it. And I thought about it. I was like, let me go see my book in the library. And I went to the library. I was like, oh my God, my book is on the shelf. Oh my God, I was so excited. So I took pictures like, hey, I'm in the library, And I got to talking with the librarian. And she has some events coming up, some community events. And she invited me to come on board as a local author. So we're going to talk more about that. And it's going to happen again in 2020. So I'm really looking forward to a stronger presence in my community in 2020.
Okay, so since you brought up 2020, let's talk about even further than that. Where do you see your journey going in the next 5 years?
I definitely see myself coaching others, and I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play out, but I'm, talking and coming up with a strategy. I also see myself with at least 2 more books. They're in the beginning raw stages right now. So I've always wanted to author, so I'm going to continue to author. I love to write. Journalism was my first major in college, even though I didn't graduate with a journalism degree. Writing has always been my love. So I feel blessed that I'm able to combine the two, my love for writing with my love for health and fitness. So I see myself authoring at least 2 more books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
Thank you.
So, Sheila, what tips or advice would you give to someone who is sitting on the fence of their field of dreams?
My piece of advice is to picture yourself 1 year from now having not done anything. And if you see that you're sitting in the same spot, that should motivate you to do something. Even when things take longer than you want them to, the truth of the matter is if you do nothing, time will go by and you have accomplished absolutely nothing. I've been there. I've talked myself out of things.
Me too.
I think we all have. I've talked myself out of doing things because, again, fear of failure and not seeing the result I want to see in the time frame that I wanted it. So I would talk myself out of doing it. When the truth of the matter is, any stride you take, any move you make is putting you closer to your end goal. So I would give that piece of advice. If you see, go 1 year ahead. If you see yourself sitting in that same spot, still wanting to do that, you'll have regret because had you made a move a year before, you'd be a year into your dream. A year into realizing your dream. Yep.
Right. Okay. Well, it is time for the lightning round.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you answer what comes to mind, short and sweet, or if you want to extend, you can extend. It's all good. We want you to make your point and drive it home. Okay,
right.
So number 1, what initially held you back from making your commitment to change? Meaning, once you lost the weight, and what initially held you back from taking it to where you started to inspire others and help others?
Embarrassment. I hesitated with writing the book. I hesitated with telling my story because I didn't want to be embarrassed and I didn't want to be judged. One of the tools I used for weight loss was weight loss surgery, and people judge you for having weight loss surgery. It's often called cheating. It's often called the easy way out. None of which are true, in my opinion. There are many other health conditions that require or that surgery will make better, and no one judges you for taking that as an option for your health. But for some reason, this particular action is viewed in a negative light. So that was an obstacle. At least something I thought about for a lot of years. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to be embarrassed. But it came a point where I had to decide to live. I couldn't risk dying because I don't want to be embarrassed.
Right.
Yeah. So my life was way more than possible embarrassment.
Right. Good. Well, I'm glad that you made that choice.
Thank you.
So tell me, what is the best advice you've ever received?
For me, it's an actual scripture. It didn't come from a person, but it's the scripture. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. It's my go-to scripture when I'm in doubt, when I feel like I can't accomplish something. I say that scripture to myself. I have that scripture on my wall. It's on my wall. It's on a picture in my bathroom, so I read it every morning. So for me, that's the best piece of advice, and I say it every day when I look at it in the bathroom. When I turn the light on, that's the first thing I see. I can do all things.
Absolutely. Because sometimes you have to encourage
yourself.
Hey, all right. So share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
Working out. I love to work out. I'm in the gym 3 to 5 days a week, and it is the most exhilarating feeling. It's that once I couldn't, now I can, so I do. Once upon a time, I couldn't work out. All I could do was ride the stationary bike, and I could barely do that. I could barely walk. I couldn't lift weights. I couldn't do any of that. It was just way too painful. So the fact that I can do it now, I get so excited. I walk in the gym smiling. I'm all excited. I know they're like, why is that lady so happy? And so, yeah, working out, it burns calories, it builds muscle, it gives you adrenaline, gives you stamina, gives you energy. It's just win, 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 win.
Yeah. So what book besides yours would you recommend to the Commit to Change audience, and why?
Besides my own?
Well, you can recommend yours too. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Let's see. That's a tough one for me. I have a friend that just wrote a book, and his classmate, and his name is Ringo. And he wrote a book that I just recently read, and it falls within the same type of vein of making change. And he told his story of going from the military to a CEO. It's called Airman to CEO. And the story is very compelling, and I saw a lot of similarities, even though his wasn't about weight loss, but it was about making a change. You know, oftentimes, again, we talk ourselves out and we let other people tell us what we can and what we can't do. But you have to, you know, decide for yourself that the change is for you, regardless of what others think. So his book, it's fresh on my mind because I just read it. So again, his name is Dan Ringo, and I love his book.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look that up because I need veterans. I'm partial to veterans because I am a veteran, and I know that transitioning into the civilian world, it can be very difficult, especially if you were in a leadership role, and then when you go back into the community, and then it's like you're just like everybody else. You know, you're like, well, what do I do? Okay. All right. So if you found out that you have 1 hour left to live, not to lift, that would be a whole different question. Right. Right. Exactly. You know, 1 hour left to live, and you were given the opportunity to share one final message, what would it be?
To trust God. Trust God, exercise your faith, and believe God. If He tells you, you can do it. If He tells you this is what you should do, this is where you should be, trust God.
Absolutely. Just have faith. I have a song for everything. God, yeah, the Lord. All right. So you know what? I have a question. I was thinking about it when you were talking. You were answering the question about your personal habit, and something that I've always told clients with the whole weight loss journey is that you did not gain weight overnight. So you're not going to lose the weight overnight. And I know you said too, if you can see results in 2 weeks, you were like, this is not working. So can you tell me, if you remember, how long did it take for you to reach like the 300 mark, like where you noticed that it was getting there for you to be like, I need to do something?
Yeah. In my early 30s is where the weight started coming on, and I hung around in the 215, 230, 235 for a while. By the time I got married at 38, I was around 280. So when I was trying to shop for a wedding dress, I had a really hard time. So I was a high 280. So in my mid 30s, maybe about 230. By the time I got to my late 30s, I was at 280, 285. When I crossed over into my 40s is where I went into the 300s. So it was kind of like every year I would tack on 10, 15, or even 20 pounds. Like 10, 15 or 20 pounds every year. And it was when I got to, I think, 325 that I said, I gotta do something. And really it wasn't just me, it was my doctor. And this is one of the things I talk about in my book. I went to the doctor. She had been trying to help me lose weight. She diagnosed me with the thyroid condition. I used to think thyroid conditions were something that overweight people use as an excuse for them being overweight. And that came from when I was a child. I remember an actual conversation. I overheard the adults saying, oh yeah, he says he's overweight because he has thyroid condition. He just needs to push back from the table. So that stayed in my mind from childhood. And I really actually thought that wasn't true, because it's what the grown people said. So I didn't think thyroid issues were obesity was related to. I thought they made that up. And when I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism, my doctor suggested the weight loss surgery, and I was like, no, ma'am. And every so often when I would go, she would bring it up again. I would say no. And finally, she brought it up again. I said, please, don't bring that up again. Don't bring that up. And a year went by. I went back to see her again, and now I'm 350. And she said, we need to talk about this. And I said, I told you I don't want to hear this anymore. And my doctor, she put her laptop down. She looked up at me, and she yelled at me. And she's so soft-spoken. So if you never had a doctor yell at you, it's an awakening. And she said, Sheila, you need help. You can't do this on your own. With the condition you have, you need help. So that moment, and I started crying. That moment woke something. It woke something up in me and caused me to look further. So it took several years for it to pile on. And it took for someone else to come at me in a stern way for me to wake up and at least consider the different options. So I didn't go from 200 to 350 in 3, 4, or 5 years. It piled on over 15, 20 years. So I didn't expect it to come off, in a couple, 3 weeks. Like I said, I had made peace with the fact that it may take some time, and it did. A little faster, obviously, with the help of the surgery. But even with that, again, I knew that if I didn't commit to a new lifestyle, that it would be back. Because I think everyone knows someone by now who's had weight loss surgery and the gained some weight back. Some, if not all. I think everybody knows somebody at this point, and I do too. And I feel bad about that. But I use that to push me, to further push me to do what I need to do, to be where I need to be.
Right. So, how long did it actually take for the 161, to reach the 161 weight loss?
2 years.
Yeah. See, audience, she's telling you the truth right now. It takes time to pile it on, and then it takes time for it to come off. So you have to give yourself that, because what happens is you'll put yourself in a yo-yo, and then you're going to do more damage than not, and then your journey becomes a little bit more difficult. And I can attest to that. Okay, correct. So
you're so right.
Yes. So, Sheila, can you please tell our audience where we can find out more about you and what you're doing? How can we contact you?
Absolutely. My website is SheJag.com, and on my website, there's info on purchasing the book. There's info on purchasing. I have a line of T-shirts, the SheJag T-shirts, and I have the Jag bag. His bag's called the Jag bag. Nice. And I also offer meal plans. Again, a lot of folks that want to know what I eat. What do you eat? What do you do? So they pushed me into coming up with these meal plans. I actually was honored to do it. So I have vegetarian meal plan and a meat meal plan that's available on my website for those who want to know how I eat. I'm vegetarian now, and they want to know how I get all my protein in. So I share meals so that others know that you can still get what you need as a vegetarian. Social media, I'm SheJag on Facebook, and on my my other page, what do you call it? I can't think of it, but my other, Facebook, I can't think of the name of it, but it's SheJag Making Moves. It won't come out right now. I'm having a brain thing. But Instagram, SheJag Inspires. On Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a wrap. I want to thank you so much, SheJag, Sheila, for being a VIP guest on the C2C podcast. Yep, and thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We hope you feel inspired to keep moving forward towards your goals and stick with or make a commitment to change your own life. And please make sure to check out the links provided by our guests and share today's podcast and information with anyone you feel may benefit from it. And remember, in order to get to the top of the steps, you have to take the first step. Just don't step on anyone on the way, because you just might trip. This is Miss Nikki. Till next time. Bye.